All right, guys, so Mediaite is reporting here. Biden's harsh dismissal of Kamala Harris during negotiations left GOP senators, quote, taken aback. This is in a new book. Let me read you the article a little bit here. Now, of course, I'll, give you the caveat up front. This is coming from the Republicans who have an incentive to want to present this divide and conquer narrative. So you can take it with a massive grain of salt. But having said that, I think it's commentary worthy. The dynamic between President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris continues to be a major point of interest in Washington, D.C. As reporting for a new book shed some light on the tensions in the White House, Biden reportedly left Republican senators stunned during legislative negotiations when he strongly shut down Harris, who herself had recently been in the U.S. Senate. New York Times reporter Jonathan Martin and Alexander Burns detail in their upcoming book, This Will Not Pass, Trump, Biden, and the Battle for America's Future, the tense exchange. Biden and Harris were meeting with senators last May in an effort to get a $1 trillion infrastructure bill through the chamber when Harris reportedly, quote, thought that there was something missing from the conversation. The book explains that she, quote, began to make the case for a larger package than the one the Republicans seemed to have in mind, which included adding some more Democratic priorities like family and social spending, quote. Biden dismissed her comment immediately. The authors explain, noting that even the Republican senators were taken aback by his harsh tone. Biden, one of the longest-serving senators in U.S. history, had taken the lead on congressional negotiations early in his term. The book has made headlines for offering other glimpses into the Biden-Harris relationship, including noting that Jill Biden was wary of putting Harris on the ticket due to her blistering attacks during the 2020 Democratic presidential primary. The authors also quote Governor Larry Hogan, who recounted an early meeting between some governors and Biden and Harris, in which Hogan called Harris's role in meetings, quote, very strange. Harris did not say a word, Hogan told authors, noting he was unsure if Harris was just being deferential to the president, didn't want to step on him, or there was some other dynamic at play. Some of Harris's advisors believe the president's almost entirely white inner circle did not show the vice president the respect that she deserved. Okay, I'll comment on all this in a second. Let me just get through it. Martin and Burns also wrote in excerpts published online Tuesday, quote, Harris worried that Biden's staff looked down on her. She fixated on real and perceived snubs in ways the West Wing found tedious. The authors add of Harris, who has yet to improve her dismal approval ratings. Biden hasn't either, by the way. In another section, the authors explained that Harris's aides were unhappy she was given the southern border as a policy assignment and that they pushed instead for her to be made the liaison to the Nordic countries. A much more cushy assignment. Quote, staff floated the possibility of the vice president overseeing relations with the Nordic countries, a low-risk diplomatic assignment that may have helped Harris get adjusted to the international stage in welcoming venues like Oslo and Copenhagen, the authors wrote. The noting was reportedly rejected and privately mocked within the White House, the book adds. So she wanted to be assigned to things that are like layups that are easy, that'll help her future political prospects. And they're like, no, let's give you the border. So on the one hand, what she wanted was too cushy and too much of a layup. But on the other hand, what Biden assigned her with was to sort of pawn off responsibility on whatever problems at the border to Kamala Harris, so he has an out when things go bad to be like, wasn't me, it was her. So that is sort of a Weasley thing to do. But what she asked for was also Weasley. So now let's get to the substance of it. On the idea that the reason they're treating her like this, it's because of race. That is definitely not true. My guess is there's a number of reasons that she's treated like this. Number one, these people respect power. And Kamala Harris has an abysmally low approval rating, lower than Joe Biden. She flamed out before even the Iowa caucuses in the presidential race. She's not popular. And so I think part of how dismissive they are is over the fact that, like, she was sort of a charity case to become VP, and she's not delivering in any way, shape, or form, and she's sort of like a drag on the ticket. So I think that's part of it. The other reason I think that Biden is harshly dismissive of Kamala, specifically in the context of the story they tell here, is because what she floated is an idea that's to the left of Biden. So if she was saying, hey, the package isn't big enough, we need some family spending and social spending in there, if she said that, Kamala Harris would be correct. And Joe Biden is super dismissive of any ideas to his left. All the corporate Democrats do this. They view people who propose anything left of them as like naive, pie in the sky, silly people who don't understand the harsh realities of negotiation and don't understand like the way you really get things done in Washington, D.C. They view Bernie Sanders as the unicorns and fairy dust person. You're never going to get any of these things you talk about, and you make us look bad in the process, so why do you overpromise and underdeliver? So if Harris in the meeting was like, hey, this isn't good enough for working people, we need to get more social spending, we need to get more family spending, Biden is going to be harshly dismissive of that because he's going to be like, I'm trying to work with the Republicans here and work with some conservative Democrats, and I can't do that. I can't get it through. So he would be smug and arrogant and dismissive. Now, again, on that point, I'm 100% with Kamala Harris. Because what the corporate Democrats don't understand is only in your little DC swamp bubble can you be dismissive of people proposing good ideas and think like, this is common sense. No, the real common sense position is to advocate for all of these things that are super popular, according to the American people, and go to war over it, and go to battle over it, and call out the people who are against it, call them corrupt, twist some arms, find a way to pull an LBJ or pull an FDR, find a way to cut those backroom deals, find a way, since if you actually believe in something, to use every trick you have in order to get it through, because it's all in service of small d democracy. So, small d democracy is a hilarious thing to say. Just small d, I'm giggling because I'm a child. Anyway, so on that point, look, I would agree with Harris. But on the broader point, yeah, I mean, I can't blame Biden for being dismissive because she's a bit of a joke. She's a bit of a joke. They shouldn't have picked her in the first place. That's their own fault. She's loved by the donor class, and let's keep it real. This is the era of the identity is going to be a big positive, so they picked her for that as well, and now they're dealing with the consequences. But look, they hate each other. I think they hate each other for real, and it all started back during the race when, remember, Kamala Harris's devastating line of, "That little girl was me," and Jill Biden, we covered this the other day, Jill Biden said behind the scenes, F Kamala Harris over that. And so there was tension from the beginning. It was a sheer, political pick. And now the relationship has frayed to an extreme degree. But of course, the one thing that would spark the harsh dismissiveness to come out is when Kamala happens to be right and proposes something that's better than what Joe Biden is proposing. So, no winners here. Nobody to like here. Just a bunch of corrupt politicians going at it and privately despising each other. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You want to.